The American Transplant Congress is the premier event for innovation and progress in transplantation. For the thousands of transplant professionals coming together in Philadelphia, ATC 2024 provides the greatest opportunity to discover meaningful work being done in the transplantation arena. Welcome back to our third and final day in Philadelphia. I'm Autria Godfrey, your ATC TV host. Welcome back to our third and final day in Philadelphia. As the platform for cutting-edge scientific and technological breakthroughs, ATC is committed to the very latest in transplant research and discovery. Today, we're focusing on what's trending in transplantation. It is the hot topic today, xenotransplantation. We'll hear more about where this new discipline is headed and what concerns still remain.
We have also found some incompatibilities in certain pathways between human and pig, and we have tried to put in human genes in the pig. So the pig has some genes deleted and some extra added to make the heart compatible to humans.
And from machine perfusion to pediatrics, we tackle the other trending topics in transplantation.
We perfuse the organs in the body instead of having a machine where you take the liver out and the kidneys out and the heart out.
Finally today, we wrap up our tour of the institutions conducting groundbreaking research by visiting those taking care of the tiniest of transplant patients. It's a thrilling third day still ahead, and there are plenty of ways for you to watch. You can find the latest ATC TV episode on the TVs in the Convention Center, on the in-house channel at our partner hotel, the Marriott Downtown Philadelphia, on the homepage of the ATC website, and on our X and YouTube channels. Now to see this type of research in action. For decades, organ transplantation has offered hope to those facing end-stage organ failure, but the availability of organs remains a critical issue. Now, Johns Hopkins is pioneering a revolutionary new way to address this urgent need.
Hopkins has been at the forefront of academic medicine and innovation for 100 years. But more recently, xenotransplantation may represent a final solution where we have essentially an unlimited supply of organs, which is what our waiting patients really need.
In transplant, you have a responsibility also to advance the field. Over the last 2 years, I've worked with Dr. Yamada and Dr. Cameron in xenotransplantation to allow clinical trials.
Dr. Yamada is probably the world leader in preclinical strategies for xenotransplantation. He really was the missing piece in the puzzle at Johns Hopkins.
I have been studying xenotransplantation over the past 30 years. Our recent result at Johns Hopkins is the best result I have ever seen in my career. Johns Hopkins xenotransplantation program currently has 3 major projects in preclinical xenotransplantation. My ultimate goal is to provide xenografts that last patient for a lifetime.
We've explored several of the biggest trends in transplantation today, but we wanted to hear from you. ATC TV talks with attendees once again to hear what you think is on the horizon for this field.
Right now, there's a lot of information on machine perfusion, which is really a game changer in trying to maximize utilization of organs.
Machine perfusion is allowing transplant centers to get those patients, transplanted that are a little further down on the list and kind of getting that wait list mortality. So it's really been a great advantage for both sides, for someone to leave a legacy and for transplant recipients to receive a good gift.
I feel that the organ shortage and the potential of xenotransplantation is a really exciting piece, as well as the piece where we're learning about how to promote tolerance in transplantation. I think those are 2 major unmet needs that I think many of the groups here have shown potential areas to advance.
So far, I have seen some very nice presentations on xenotransplantation and also artificial intelligence. I think these are some major hot topics that, for me personally, yeah, it's inspiration source.
Xenotransplant seems to be a very hot topic right now. I've attended most of the sessions covering that. It was very interesting. One of the sessions a couple of days ago, that was at 7 a.m., there was a bit of debate in the interactive session, so that was really interesting to hear both sides, the pros and cons of xenotransplant.
New York Presbyterian Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital has one of the largest and most successful pediatric heart transplant programs in the world and is dedicated to providing the highest quality, most compassionate care and service to its patients, whether they are in the New York metropolitan area or worldwide.
The Pediatric Heart Transplant Program here at Columbia is just about to celebrate its 40th anniversary of the first successful pediatric heart transplant in June of 1984. One of the most gratifying things of working in this program has been the ability to really help patients and families when they've been turned down for any additional support. So meeting a family for the first time who's been told that their child has no other options can be heartbreaking. And then to assess that child and really determine that, given the history and the experience and the expertise here, that we can offer something is really a privilege. And it's the cornerstone to what we do here. We are always in service of our patients and trying to innovate so that we can help them the best we can.
When a child is diagnosed with a serious heart condition, families turn to the experts at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Discover how this renowned program has become a beacon of hope, reaching a historic milestone in pediatric heart transplantation.
Pediatric heart transplantation that started out back in the 80s as heroic therapy and somewhat of a novelty has now become accepted therapy for end-stage heart disease in pediatric patients.
I've been involved with pediatric heart transplant now for over 3 decades. It has been incredibly rewarding to watch so many of these children grow and grow up to be adults. We have a very well-organized transition program here, where we transition our pediatric patients over to the adult side, and that's incredibly rewarding. And I'm hoping that St. Louis Children's, which has already paved the way, and with so much research in pediatric heart transplantation, can continue to do that.
We're one of the few centers that has expertise in what the outcomes are and how to manage them long term.
We're forever in the pursuit of improving outcomes for our patients. We hope that they can go on to live long, meaningful lives. And that is what motivates us to continuously innovate and continuously find ways to make their lives better.
Finally today, we are thrilled to highlight the ATC's commitment to supporting and promoting women in transplantation. Let's check in on this year's ATC's Women's Networking event.
I am just honored and truly moved to be here. We had a women's networking event, and I had the privilege to sort of tell my story about what my career arc has been, and wanted to tell a story other people could relate to and think about how it might apply in their lives. And then also to talk and meet with the participants at the event, as well as to answer questions in a fireside chat, which was really fun. I really believe that these female networking events are critical to give women and men the opportunity to meet each other. It's important when you're starting out in your career or a trainee, because it gives you the opportunity to meet people who are more advanced in their career, who could become mentors and really help people advance their careers. And that's perhaps the most fulfilling part of everything. People that you meet and connections that you make can provide perspective as well as to me. When I think about what are the challenges that women in transplant face, I think there's still at some programs, women are still in the minority, and when that happens, I think they can sometimes feel marginalized. I think another challenge that women have in transplant is how to get into some of the leadership positions. And so, for example, when one looks at the differences in the number of women compared to men who are either medical directors or surgical directors, you do see a disparity between the number of women and the number of men in that arena who have reached those leadership positions. It's changing, but it's slowly changing. There has been a tremendous amount of progress in transplantation and women being more involved in the field. There's been more and more women who have gotten involved in transplant nephrology, and I'm a transplant nephrologist, so I've sort of tracked that and watched that. But as well, there has been a real increase in the number of transplant surgeons who are women and contributing to research, contributing to clinical care, contributing to administrative areas, contributing to education. These women are going to make a huge difference. And just working with my junior colleagues who are women, seeing the next generation, seeing these just talented people coming along, that's what makes me so very hopeful.
Truly incredible work being done by so many of our research institutions and organizations. We hope you've enjoyed this specially curated content and in-depth sit-down interviews. We may be wrapping up, but our content is always on. You can find all of our segments from the week on our X and YouTube channels. Thanks again for your time and attention this week, and thank you for all you do to save lives. We hope to be right back with you again next year for the World Transplant Congress in San Francisco. Until then, safe travels, everyone.